Hey guys, this is Brain Smith. Today I'm going to talk about a few different things about crankbaits. So I'm just going to be breaking down a few of the different features and characteristics of every type of crankbait, and hopefully helps you narrow down what type of crankbait you're going to use for whatever type of fishing you're going to do. So first I'm going to talk about a rounded body versus a flat body. So a rounded body, it's going to have a wider wobble versus a flat body that's going to have a more subtle, tight wobble. So why is this important? If you're fishing warm waters where the bass are more aggressive, or if you're fishing dirty water, rounded body is perfect for you because it's going to give off more vibration and it's just going to key on bass even more. It's really erratic versus a flat body, which is perfect for wintertime or any type of day where the bass are lethargic, a cloudy day, or pressured waters. Flat body is where you're going to go to. Same's going to hold true to what type of lip you're using, what type of shape it is. So you got a narrower lip, it's going to have a tighter wobble. If you have a more wide lip, wider wobble. So rule of thumb is the more narrow a body is or a lip, tighter wobble it's going to have. The wider the body, the wider the lip, the wider the wobble. So keep that in mind. It's just kind of a rule of thumb you can go by, and it makes it a little bit simpler when choosing a crankbait. Now the lip length is also important because the longer the lip, the deeper your bait's gonna dive. So I got a DT4 and a DT6 here. You can see that lip's bigger. And now the DT6 with a DT10. It makes sense because the longer the lip, the deeper it's gonna dive. And also it's important where your line tie is. So you see the line tie is directly on that lip. So it's gonna have that bait going straight versus where you have a line tie that's directly onto the body. Like with a square bill crankbait and a lipless crankbait, these are gonna swim nose down. So those type of baits are gonna be better to fish around some type of cover because they're gonna be nose down and they're gonna deflect off cover a lot better than one that's directly on a line tie. Because when it deflects off cover, it's gonna miss those hooks because it's got that nose down action. Now regarding a bait that doesn't have a lip, like a lipless crankbait, you can fish this at any depth of water, just depending on how fast or slow you fish it. Great way to fish this is just ripping it out of the grass and yo-yoing it, because most of the time you can get all your bites on the fall of this bait. Also, something to consider also regarding lips is the angle. So you see the square bill crankbait has the line tied directly onto the body, and then you got that slanted lip. That's going to keep your bait higher up, and also, like I was talking about, it's going to keep it in nose down action. And this will go about 0 to 4 feet. This is great for fishing around cover because it's not going to get hung up because it's going to deflect right off that cover, bounce up, and you're going to get a lot of bites off this, especially in pre-spawn. So now I'm going to talk about balsa wood crankbaits versus plastic crankbaits. So first I'm going to talk about the balsa wood crankbait. And the key selling point for me on balsa crankbaits are their buoyancy. So these are perfect to work around any type of cover. The reason is, whenever it deflects off cover, it's gonna float a lot faster than plastic does, and you're gonna get less snags. So balsa wood's definitely a go-to for working around cover. The only downside is it's less durable, specifically the lips, because they're not as fastened on as securely as it is on plastic. So whenever you're fishing these, do not slap them against the water to clean them off. You're gonna break off the bill. And one other thing is, it's not gonna cast as far just because it is a little bit of a lighter bait. Versus a plastic, you're gonna be able to bomb these out there. So that's one upside about the plastic. Also, it's a lot more durable, as I was talking about in the bill. It's fastened on there pretty good. And one other upside would be fishing these during the winter, just because they do have a slower float rate. So whenever you're going on a stop and go retrieve, it's just gonna have a slower float. So it's gonna look more natural during the winter, but I mean, both are great crankbaits to use, so there's a few pros and cons. You just gotta choose which ones weigh out the others. So that's my first video on crankbaits. I'm gonna release a part 2 coming up in about a week. That one's gonna be focusing a little bit more on different patterns, sizes, and sounds of crankbaits. So until then, tight lines, guys.